Hey, BookTube! Here I am to tell you how not to do BookTube. I believe that me and everything I am and my channel is a perfect cautionary tale about how not to start or grow or thrive in BookTube, except in the ways that I am and want to, which probably no one else does. So let's talk about what I'm doing that is keeping me obscure. All right, well, right from the get go. And I will be getting, by the way, two Mark's behind the scenes tag with this today, finally. But I'm going to start off by going through some points that Criminali gave in his How to YouTube video. By the way, it's not a knock on him. I was going to do a satiric one, but I chose his specifically because it's the one that I found that engages most with content as opposed to like technical stuff and things of that nature. So yeah, I liked his. So I'm going to go through and say all the things that he said to do that he does very well. I think he's 55,000 subscribers, something like that. And I'm currently, I don't know, 77 or something. But a minute ago, I was 30 some. So how did I keep it so low after almost a year now on YouTube? So, lots of things. The first thing he says is look at your name. I think readDANculous isn't bad. It sort of gives you an idea that I'm going to be a punster. And of course, it's about reading. Doesn't tell you what I read, and that's a big problem with my channel. Is it is all over the place, formally, but also in terms of the foundations, whatever you would call that in English, which is to say that I don't have a niche, right? I'm reading everything: non-fic, fiction, old stuff, new stuff, sci-fi, fantasy. Well, I don't read true crime or horror or romance really, but other than that, pretty much everything. So that doesn't help. The name also, yes, for the longest time, I would say the first 6 months or so, I was commenting on everybody's sites using the wrong. I set this YouTube up specifically for BookTube, but I was commenting. I kept watching and commenting from my other YouTube channel or my other YouTube whatever subscription. So no one could reply back to me. I mean, they could reply, but they had no idea that I had a channel, right? That readDANculous existed, because they were talking to Dan XYZ391 or whatever it was. So that wasn't very clever. Okay, you probably noticed at the head here, I don't have an outro or intro title. We call it a cart in radio, or we used to anyway. Card. I do have my brother sent me a wonderful sort of intro music, but I just play it off my cell phone. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know how to do those cards, and I don't do any editing. So these are some more reasons that my channel doesn't quite have a slick look. Next thing I think you want to do is try to be, I don't have my tie today, but I think you should try to be, a homely old fellow. Everybody wants, what puts people at ease more than another old white guy in a tie, right? And then my lovely background, right? Zero books, zero color. What did one commenter say? Am I being kept in a cave? I was asked. This is my studio at work. This is the background they choose that they want for the classes that we teach. And the reason I'm doing this at all is because I thought that these studios, we have IT, we have all these people. I thought they were wired great for sound. Well, apparently, it's been terrible sound. I'd have been better off doing my phone from the beginning, and I'm now transitioning to doing more at home, where I hopefully will have better sound. To this day, I don't know, is this the microphone? I don't even know. But I wear the headphones for that reason, just in case. So yeah, I think you can see not a very slick branding process, because I'm, a socialist warrior. So I'm sort of anti branding and capitalist, and anti, or at least agnostic with technology for the most part. So those don't help. He said to have an intro. He said to have a schedule. I think I'm pretty okay on that. Ollie said, he I think he puts out every day now, but I until very recently I started doing things on set days. I don't have a certain day that I put things out, but since I put things out, 3-4 times a week, it ends up being, I think, enough of quantity that I think I do okay on that one. Okay, see, so quality control is his fourth one. So getting back to the things that haven't been great. So for some reason, I thought that thumbnails would be really technical and difficult. So I didn't do them for like 6 months. All my thumbnails were me. So again, leading with this face, not a good plan. And this background, and just a random shot from, that YouTube chose from my talking with my hands. So anyway, I now I have, I think, an okay. I was really proud of my most recent thumbnail. I did a Calvin and Hobbes thing. So I just have myself and then the book for the most part. So it took me a long time to get. Basically, it took me about 6 months to figure out everything. I still actually don't know how to track down everybody's comments. For the longest time, the only way I had it was to remember who I had commented on, go back to that original video and see if anyone had replied. Sweet Mark had tagged me in early on in a tag, and I of course had no idea how to do mentions. So for the longest time, I couldn't find that. What else did I not know existed? I still probably only know about half of the, definitely no analytics, half of the YouTube sort of, what do they call that? Board, right? And see, I don't even know the names of it. And probably about half of the editor. So, and nothing outside of YouTube, no other programs, nothing. So that ended up being a problem. But again, my viewers saved me. Like Heather, right away, one of my first videos, she said, you need to list all the books that you talk about in your description. So I did that. I've tried to do that ever thereafter. And that's where number 4, Ollie was saying, the QC, the lights, the sounds, the audio, all of that, still working on it. Be Yourself is 5. Okay, that's okay. 6 is discoverability. 7 is thumbnails. Anyway, somewhere in there is, discoverability. He was saying, make sure in your description, list all the books you're talking about and other ways that it allows someone to find you. And this is actually the one thing that I don't like about my failure. The only thing I wanted from the get-go was for my videos to be searchable when someone wanted a book. In other words, I didn't really see, a lot of my problem is that I do YouTube in the way I consume YouTube, which is very different, I think, from most people. I treat it kind of like a web browser. So I look for certain things, right? I don't like have someone's channel. And so it was very recently that I subscribed for the first time to anybody that I was watching. It was just not, I didn't see it as channels like that. I saw it as, today I want to talk about this or that, or I want to look at this or that. So I would search for a certain thing. So what I would want is for all of my videos to be searchable. If someone wants to talk about, Georges Perec, les choses, the things, then they search for that. And there's probably not many videos out there about it. I would like mine to be one of those discoverable. What I found is that from my own searching more and more as I get better at this, it's not that way at all. So I can put almost the exact description of what I want. I'll put BookTube, their channel name, most of their title that I can remember, and like 5, 6, sometimes 10 things, which, forces you off the screen, right, will pop up that are kind of adjacent to what I'm looking for from bigger YouTubers. And then the exact thing that I named, I have to dig deep and go searching for down further on. I don't like that, YouTube. That's no good. So that's a problem I have to solve because I do want to be discoverable. All right, being myself, I think I'm okay on that one. What do y'all think? Discoverability, because I have learned it is a channel and people do stick with you and they do want to develop your personality and not just everybody's just like jumping in on a one-off. So I'm trying to roll with that. I'm learning little by little. I think my discoverability is garbage. I think my thumbnails are getting there. So to keep them is tell, tell, tell. So Ollie recommended that I tell you in the beginning of the video what I'm going to tell you about. Then I tell you what I told you about, and then the end, I tell you that I told you, which is old advice that his dad, I think he said, gave him. And I don't really do that at the head of the video, but what I do, I think, is jump into my videos very fast. I don't do a lot of hemming and hawing. I think that loses a lot of people, or at least me, when I'm watching somebody, and it takes them, 10 of the 20 minutes to get to the book we're going to discuss. I don't love that. So I think I get into what I'm going to say pretty quick. I also think I go off the path very quickly onto various other things, but I think I circle back all right. What I'm good at, I think, is talking for 40 minutes on a subject with more or less, coherently, because I'm a teacher, right? We're all trained sort of to do that. So I think so big problems for me, no edits, right? And one shot. In fact, it took me 6 months to realize, I could pause the video, regroup my thoughts, and then carry on recording. I didn't even think to do that. So, so one shots with no editing, it's not to everybody's taste. It is more conversational. Yeah, but there are positives and negatives to everything, right? You could do a million edits with 57 jump cuts. That could be just as jarring as hum-ha's. I do feel like, all my best friends hem and haw when I talk with them, and I enjoy talking with them. So maybe I'm more tolerant than most. Okay, so that's that. What else did Ollie say? He said at the end of the video to do something with the ending, like a call to action. I do know what that is because unfortunately I was a copywriter for a while. For my sins, I wrote those horrible listicles. So I do know how to do all that marketing go blarge, and if I, can stomach it. Theoretically, know how to do it, not technically, but. I don't really have a strong ending. I'm thinking of this. I invite you with Rumi to sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment. But I just feel like I would get bored of doing the same ending over and over, no matter how great it is. I'd say I'm starting to center in on Blessings BookTube as an opening, I think. It's Thai, Y, is the way that you greet in Thai. So, that might be solidifying, but it's organic. I didn't plan it or anything like that. All right, he says to keep people coming back, to reply to comments, have a Discord, keep promises. I do not have a Discord. I hate Discord, and recently learned that I hate Voxer. But I need to make friends with one of them, because one of my favorite things that I've been doing is groups. I haven't done a buddy read yet, if anyone wants to do buddy read. Group reads, reading challenges, all those kinds of things. Tags I do. We'll talk about it in a minute. What I don't do is I break a lot of rituals, YouTube rituals, BookTube rituals. So I don't have any moral objection to any of these, but I don't have any really interest in doing a TBR. Never had a list of what I'm going to do, right? Let alone reading. I want it to be fun. I don't want to have to get through, or consume my books. I love them. And then I don't do hauls or unhauls. It's not just because I'm poor and a vagabond that I have no books, but it's sort of my Buddhist philosophy to keep the books flowing. I have had bookshelves in the past. I do have bookshelf envy when I see some of yours. Not many of them really are my kind of bookshelf, but the beat up old books, and stuff. But what else? What else do I not do? Wrap ups. I just prefer to deal with a book one at a time. I just feel that they deserve that. I'm sorry. That's not good that I break, but I do the tag. I do a few of the activities of BookTube with pleasure. So I'm trying to get along. Keep my promises. Well, I don't tend to make any real big promises. I guess you could say that I break promises in that I've launched numerous things that have gone nowhere. I tried to launch one tag, I think, went nowhere, not surprised. And I had, my initial idea of doing book discussions where it's more like we've all already read the book. And now I've drifted into not quite book reviews, but not what I wanted at the beginning, whereas I talk in depth about a book, asking lots of questions in the belief that others will also make videos commenting on that book, and we'll have this interchange. That, we called it Talk Swap, never really happened, so that's on hold. I have a couple ideas about how to go forward with that, but we'll have to wait and see. Um, uh, Ollie said to be comfortable in terms of growing the channel, to be comfortable with losing subs. I don't think I've been losing any subs because I don't have any to lose. And that you can check, like, apparently by video which ones are losing the most subscribers or something. I don't know. But yeah, the growth is exactly what I wanted in terms of I don't wish necessarily to really get to 1,000, or I would have to think about things if I got to 1,000 in terms of my commercial relationship with YouTube, which I'm already in that realm. But so there is a reason I didn't necessarily push from the beginning to grow the channel in that way. Also, what I care about by far, when I watch videos, I don't tend to it just doesn't feel super meaningful to me. I like to comment, and what I love is getting comments on my videos. So the only thing I care about really getting is comments. So subscriptions, of course that's really nice, and likes are lovely too. And I should do more when I'm watching things. And I do watch a ton of BookTube content because it's the number one form of entertainment now, passing reading, which is a problem I'll talk about. And it's a reciprocity thing. So I just feel like I wanted to be part of a group where we're all sort of commenting on each other. And so I think that's what I've got. And that makes me very happy because that's what I set out to want. But it's been tough a couple times, which I'll talk about. The first was in the very beginning when I looked at all of these. So thank you, Criminali, for this video. When I first looked at all the how to do BookTube videos is when I made that first video, why I'm not quitting BookTube. I had a hard think if I basically figured out that I would be an outlier even in BookTube. And I had to think about whether I was okay with that, and I decided, yes, I'd like to stay. And then recently, as I'm coming up on a year, I've done another deep dive that's been a little bit painful. We'll talk about it in a minute. So getting into Mark's questions here. So here we go. These are the prompts for the behind the scenes. When recording a post, do you read from prepared script or outline? I have never scripted. Oh, no, I might have scripted one new video. However, a certain percentage of my videos are coming from old writings that I had done, or poetry analyses that I have posted online, or sermons I've written, or who knows what, right? Papers I've written for classes in the past. So those obviously are scripted. I'm reading those off. So if it seems super smooth, it's probably something from the past. I do outline, of course I outline. And then, since I'm not going to edit, and then do a better or worse job of following my outline. Terrible today. And then, reel myself back in, like number 2. Do you edit before you post, deleting hems and hobs, misspeaks, etc.? So I've already spoken on this point a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages of all the different styles. Where I would want to do edits. So first of all, I want tech to be 5% and books to be 95%. So, and I really think I'm only interested in editing, not to get rid of my tangents, which I think are valuable, my hems and haws, which I think are livable, and misunderstandings. Oh my gosh, if we started editing to try and avoid misunderstandings, we'd never put anything out there because people can misunderstand anything. No, I would only edit for value added, right? So I'm not a super visual person, even as a writer. But I did a blur in my comedy video that I did recently. That effect is on the YouTube editor, super easy. So then I might do one. I have a funny idea for a jump cut one as well. I have done one with music because I wanted to do the Dream song. That was a part of the Dream Song group, and I wanted to do music to the song. So I learned how to do music just from the YouTube editor for that one. That one did take me a long time. Probably super easy for all of you. I'd love to be able to use my brother's music, but that's not in the YouTube library of sound. So I haven't figured out how to do that yet. What else? So In terms of visuals, I can point to, a few like Paperbird. I can point to a few YouTube booktubers that are doing interesting um, visual stuff. But for the most part, we're all talking heads. So, I obviously come from radio days where my looks don't matter. And I think a certain amount of us consume, a certain amount consume, there's that word again, a certain amount of, enjoy a certain amount of booktube, just listening, washing the dishes, running, whatever you're doing. I'm on my walk to school, listening to, book reviews and stuff. So I don't even see the videos for the most part. Topics to avoid. Do I avoid any topics? How is that worded? Are there certain topics you avoid? Things you regard as too personal or too controversial? Well, I'm going to enter into this, I'm a pretty open book as a person. So I'm going to enter into this in more personal way than I would, just because I don't think people are that interested on the whole. But in terms of avoiding, I think the only things that I would avoid is partisan. I try to not get into the partisan politics, just because my stand-up listening these days is being ruined by everybody's political hot takes. And I don't care which side, if you're on my side or not. I just don't want it. It's not, you're not, I didn't come to you for that. So I'm, you're coming to me for books. So obviously some of them are political. Some of the books are political and other things. I have made a couple videos where I try to address the emergencies that are happening, but I try to do it in a nonpartisan way. Maybe that goes back to my Peace Corps days and also being a teacher. You can get fired easily. We had to be very careful about the way we talked about those things. The only other thing I wouldn't talk about is personal stuff. So I've only ever had 2 people come at me in a way on BookTube that I think they would be a little bit embarrassed about if I brooded it about. So I would never talk about that, or certainly not name them. So those would be the only things that I would avoid. Graphics. Do I post graphics, special lighting, music, fast cuts, etc.? As I mentioned, that blur is the first thing I've tried. Do I have a target number for posts each week? No. My only goal was to have, 75%, 90% of my content be book talks. And obviously now I've just started, I think that's the next question. Are there certain theme posts you do? Poetry Thursday. What are you reading Wednesday? I do Poetry Thursday, and I also do Tag Tuesday. So now the tags are threatening to become my fullest folder or my fullest listserv. And I don't want that. I want my books to be more than tags. So I probably won't keep doing those, but it's fun for a while as I'm, figuring this out. Also, I do like, and I haven't, as far as I know, missed anybody's tag who has actually tagged me yet. But I used to like, when no one tagged me, resurrecting the old tags. That's a lot of fun. So I think I'll go back to doing, very occasional tags from the archives, shall we say. And I think people enjoy me tagging with them with those as well. Yeah, but of course they enjoy the ones that are going around that everyone's talking about. But sometimes you want something a little different. Okay, how important is the number of subscribers? Is there a target number? All right, this is the big one. All right, here's the thing. I realized very young that I was a very odd duck and that I might have sometimes a little bit of a difficult time of it. And I'm okay with that for the most part. I was very bookish, and that in the States is not it's not a way to be popular. Let's put it that way. We have a certain intellectual thing going in the States. So I at some point decided that even if I wanted to hide my fire under a bushel, as one advisor put it to me, that I wouldn't be able to do so. People would see right through it. So I am who I am. Now, it does hurt a little bit that on a space like BookTube, that should be my one, my spot, my sweet spot, that I have almost every time the lowest subscriber count or whatever of anybody's video I click on. Even when I click on newbies to support them, within a month they're past me. Of course I noticed that. Now, luckily, like I said, for all the reasons I said before, theoretically, that doesn't bother me. There was one moment when I thought to myself, well, if you don't find, if it doesn't, I do believe that it could eventually find the people that it's meant for. So I hold out that hope. So right, so that's still my, the reason I keep going. But in the meantime, am I being self-indulgent if it's not finding its audience, right? So around 6 months or so, I thought about that, and I decided, even if that's true, I didn't give myself a full year of self-indulgence. I have waited my whole life to be able to talk about books. I have taught over 30, almost coming on 35 years, and I've been able to teach literature even by the back door maybe twice. And I know my stereotype. I know my archetype is the storyteller. I know that. That's why I tried to be a teacher, tried to be a preacher, tried to be whatever I thought, this could be a storyteller. Maybe I need to be a taxi driver. Some of them are good storytellers. Even in my writing, I think more than a craftsman, I think I'm a storyteller. And this allows me to do that and look at stories and the way stories are crafted. And I just love it so much. I can't tell you how much it means to me. There is a sense in which you could really truly say that without books, first of all, I might have died from pure loneliness. And second of all, I come from a family just riddled by addiction. And, my addiction is books. And had it not been that, I mean, and food, but but had it not been books, what might it have been? Had it maybe not killed me like it did several of my siblings. And so I have books to thank for everything. And I thank you so much for being able to talk about books with you guys. It's amazing. So I'm going to indulge myself and keep doing it for a while at least. Hopefully it'll find its audience eventually. And let's see if I can get a hold of myself and come back to the last questions from Mark's tag here. So do I always respond when I tagged? I think I mentioned that I don't think if I've missed anyone's tag who's tagged me. I also don't know how to see all my subscribers yet, nor how to thank them. Other than going and commenting on one of their videos, there's no function that I found that you could just thank you for subscribing. And so I found finally, I think, the place where about half of them are, and the rest I think are hidden, and there's no way to know. Thank you if you're one of my hidden subscribers. I do try to subscribe to all of you. I was at one point subscribed to over 300 channels. I did eventually figure out that many of those channels haven't been active in years. So I pared it down now to about parity, to reciprocity level. Because I realized if everyone I would subscribe to me, obviously I'd have a lot more subscribers, right? But that's not the real reason I did it. I just wanted to bring it back down to the level where I could comment with everyone, they could all comment with me, and see if I could get back to basics with that. And if there's a few other ways I'm going to be getting back to basics in the coming months as I reach my year point. Whether we'll hit 100, who knows? So I'm going to be watching less BookTube than I have been doing because a lot of it was a deep dive that I didn't enjoy. Because the other part that really hurt was when I realized that the massively popular side of BookTube really is young, good-looking, popular. I would say not all of them super really in love with books. And yeah, that did start to feel like I was in high school again, and it did kind of hurt a little. But it's okay. It's about building our corner of BookTube over here. And I cannot thank enough the people who've been with me since the beginning. I mean, my subscribers are awesome. You can't be better for that. So that makes it worth it. Okay, do I respond to all the viewers' comments? Okay, here's another thing. I'm old, I'm weird, what can I tell you? I can't do the heart. I can't give people a heart. It just for us that was love. I can't give you the heart for the comment. What I can do is reply to your comments, and I think I reply to almost everybody's comments almost every time. I have gotten some sort of longer erotic poems and things like that on occasion, which I maybe haven't known exactly how to respond to, but yeah, that's the interesting fun of being on BookTube. And last says, have you ever blocked anyone from viewing and commenting on your posts? No, and I hope I would never have to. Let's keep the dialogue open. All right, so that's sort of how not to do BookTube. Be in a great cave, have no niche whatsoever to your thing, ramble on in all your videos with no edits, and be just sort of generally a weird guy. Thank you for. And what's my call to action here? How do I end this? Besides my Rumi quote. I would love to hear from you in the comments if there are other things I'm doing that you think are great or also great in a way that's terrible that keeps me hidden. If you do know any way to keep things real, but keep doing what I am doing, but make it discoverable, I'd love to hear that. Thank you to everyone and all the ways that we've engaged in BookTube this almost a year now. And I invite you with Rumi to sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment.